What's up, people? It's your boy, Levelhead. Got something I want to lay on your mental. Get y'all opinions, y'all thoughts down in the comment section. Now, we all know the Nintendo when it comes to making video games. Let me put that out there. Video games, video games, not hardware, but video games are the top dog. There's no argument that could be levied against that fact. Nintendo is the king of making video games. They've been the king since they jumped in to gaming. Nintendo has the greatest IPs, the greatest characters. They have that lock and key. Now, I'm not saying there's not other games and developers out there that doesn't rival the greatness of Nintendo, but I'm just saying across the board with what they have created over the years, they are top dog. So now hardware, we could have a different argument. But video games, the software, the content on the hardware, Nintendo is top dog. And there were certain hopes that I was hoping for with the creation of the Wii U, since it was Nintendo's first leap into HD gaming or the HD era. You know, I was hoping to see some games get that reimagining, so to speak, to where they stepped out of what was into a whole new, I would call a reskin or a realistic reskin. And it got me to thinking, like, what IPs do Nintendo have that you feel deserves an opportunity to be reimagined with a realistic approach? Meaning, taken out of the anime, cartoon, or shell-shaded direction and actually reskinned, reimagined, reshaped, remolded to look realistic, to push the graphics, to push the tech, the poly and all that. So the skin is realistic looking, the sweat, the environments, everything has a realistic approach. Now we know what Nintendo makes, so we know a lot of Nintendo IPs are automatically disqualified from this thought. You know, Mario cannot be reimagined with a realistic approach. It just doesn't fit Mario and what Mario is about. Mario has to stay in that lane of anime, cartoony, and that's what it should be. That's what makes it great. It wouldn't make any sense transitioning or trying to be reimagined or reskinned with a realistic approach. Mario doesn't make sense for that to happen to him. It wouldn't work. But there are like Kirby or Yoshi, or it's so many characters that Nintendo have, or IPs that Nintendo have that are disqualified from being reimagined with a realistic graphical approach. But then there are some IPs that can float in either lane and might fare better and do better with a realistic graphical reimagining or overhaul or makeover. And I want you to name some of the IPs that you think, because I don't know all of Nintendo's IPs. I know what the ones I'm thinking about. But I want you in the comment section to let me know which IPs of Nintendo you feel deserves to be made over or have a makeover or a reskin into the realistic lane. You know, to me, one of the major ones will probably be Zelda. But to me, going back to 2011's demo, I like what I saw. Don't get me wrong. I like what I saw there. But I'm not going to lie, folks. I like Breath of the Wild graphical and artistic direction better than what we saw with the demo in 2011. I mean, I love that demo. I love the graphics. I love the realistic approach. I love the environments. I loved all of it, the lighting, everything. But me personally, I would rather play Breath of the Wild just off of the artistic direction. I like that better. But I do want to see Zelda, or The Legend of Zelda with Link, have a game that is pushing the realistic graphics. And with that imagining, that thought process to where we want to make this look like a Witcher 3, I can see Zelda in that lane, and I can see Zelda prospering in that lane, and maybe turning heads that wouldn't typically look at Zelda as a potential game that they would want to play because they feel like they have graduated from The Legend of Zelda, because we play Witcher 3 now. We play these games and Elder Scrolls and all the other ones, Dark. I don't know all them games like that. But because of the artistic direction or the graphical direction, the realistic graphics, we have graduated from the cartoony, shell-shaded Legend of Zelda. Well, I can see the Zelda making that move, but to me, Breath of the Wild, it is what it is. But another game I can see is Kid Icarus. Now, I've heard about the situation on the 3DS with the Kid Icarus game. I think it was on the 3DS. Yeah, it was on 3DS with the stylish controls and all that. And I heard it was a mix. It was received with mixed feelings. Some people liked it. Some people felt like the controls were forced, but they enjoyed the game. But to me, Kid Icarus has the lore, the storyline, the antagonist, and the protagonist to make a great game that can be reimagined, made over in a realistic direction, almost like a God of War type of graphical direction. I think Kid Icarus would be a perfect candidate for such a game from Nintendo. I mean, it has all that you would want. He's a fighter. He knows weapons. He has the ability to fly. I believe there is so much that can be done with Kid Icarus, and the name is dope. He already has a dope name. Like I said, he has a dope antagonist, Medusa, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's who he fights. The mythos, the backdrop, is very deep, almost akin to a God of War, with all the stuff that they did with Thor. I mean, not Thor, but Zeus and the gods of the Greek gods and all that. And now they're stepping into the Viking gods. Kid Icarus is cut from that same cloth when it comes to a character and the world and environment that he's in. You can do the exact same thing and make a game that rivals God of War. That would be dope. That would be so dope. So, it is a thought coming from conversations we've had on the Live and Level Gamers podcast. I remember John Shaw was saying that Nintendo needs to make games in different genres. Nintendo has the greatest IPs, but they don't make enough games to rival some of these genres. And to me, Kid Icarus will be a dope game to reskin, to reimagine realistically with a real rich, deep storyline that you are literally trying to compete with God of War. Name me another IP that you believe could give God of War a run for his money with the flavor of the character. Kid Icarus is a cool character. That's what I believe. I like how he looked in Smash Bros, but I wouldn't want that character or that model to transition into a game of its own. I would want that to be reimagined because I feel like that Kid Icarus deserves to go beyond that. I think he deserves a real approach to who he is, his world, his antagonist, the villains, all that. And that need to be really fleshed out. And you can make a really, really appealing game, mature, appealing to a more mature audience. Kid Icarus is the prime candidate for that, in my opinion. So that's another one. Of course, everybody would say Metroid. Now, which Metroid would be the question? Would it be the Zero Suit, or would it be the original or traditional suit, with Samus? Now, to me, either or is fine. But I think, I remember seeing all the cut scenes from some of the, back in the day when they were showing some of the CGI, they had Metroid and it's like a CGI. They made this movie, her fighting Mother Brain, and then the Metroid baby or the Super Metroid, whatever that was, came in and you know that you've seen that video. If you haven't, go look it up, because I ain't gonna be doing all that editing today. But I would love to see Samus reimagined with that level of graphical detail, of realism, where her metal looks like metal. Her environment looks real. I would say like a Halo or a Gears of War. I would even go beyond that. Or Mass Effect. That'd be a better example of where I feel Metroid or Samus can go in her world if they was to reimagine it or remodel it, do a makeover in a realistic fashion. Like a Mass Effect for Metroid would be dope, or for Samus would be dope. And like I said, there's other games, because I feel like Nintendo has games that can compete if they reimagine it with the Uncharted and the Last of Us, and even going to sports. All these were forcing them to have to go realistic. And then you can still have the Marios, and the other games that they do that's animated that we love. Now, don't get me wrong. If they chose to just make all these games animated in the same fashion that they always have, I'm still going to enjoy them and love them. But I'm just saying, I'm curious to see what you would say, what games deserve to be made over or reimagined with a realistic approach. Them are a couple. I don't know all of them. I heard Pitfall and other games that Nintendo has. I don't know. It's not Pitfall. It was something else. I can't remember. But anyway, give me your thoughts, man. What games do you feel like are IPs that Nintendo have that you feel deserve to be reimagined with a realistic approach, a makeover, so to speak? Like I said, my candidate would be Kid Icarus. I would love to see Kid Icarus compete for the throne of the top hack and slash, competing with the God of Wars and the other games in that genre. Like if Nintendo would have bought THQ and took the people who make Darksiders and put that team together and say, look, we want to make a game. We want to take all that brilliance that you had in Darksiders, and we want to add our brilliance, and we want to use Kid Icarus as the IP that we're going to push. We don't want the anime look. We want a realistic game that competes with God of War. We want to flesh out the storyline. We got the mythos. We got all the gods of this universe. We got Medusa. We got the magic. We got all this. Let's flesh out a story, almost like a Zelda, but shape it and reimagine it for Kid Icarus. Give it a serious tone nature that mature audience will gravitate to. Man, you talking about moving units. That game will move units. But anyway, I've been rambling on for 14 minutes. Give me your thoughts, folks. This is your boy, Levelhead. Till next time, make sure you go check out fulleffectgaming.com. And stay tuned for more great content on this channel.